Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave and this is my daily ruling. Today's question was suggested by a viewer. Thanks to Xavion for this one. Amy uses Cackling Counterpart to create a token copy of Grizzly Bears while she controls Ygra Eater of All and Academy Manufactor. What tokens does Amy create? Okay, so I think the first thing we should notice here is that if Amy was just playing a normal Grizzly Bears, nothing interesting would happen. Academy Manufactor applies if you would create a food token. Since a normal Grizzly Bears is not a token, then the bear would just enter the battlefield normally. Another important fact is that copy effects do not take into account any other types of continuous effects acting on the thing that's being copied. This means that being a food is not a characteristic that the token has by itself. In technical terms, we would say that it is not part of the Grizzly Bear's copyable information. This is enough, with some careful reasoning, to give us the answer to the original question. Academy Manufactor only applies if you would create a food token. In other words, a token with the food subtype. But we aren't making a token with that subtype. I mean, the token will be a food once it's on the battlefield, but the token we're creating is not a food. It's a Grizzly Bears. Therefore, Academy Manufactor will not interact with this event either. Things would be different if we were using Cackling Counterpart to make a token copy of something like this Ginger Brew. Unlike Grizzly Bears, the Ginger Brew actually legitimately does have one of the 3 specific subtypes that Academy Manufactor cares about. So if you were to make a token Ginger Brew, that would get changed into a food, a clue, and a treasure, even though the food token that you're creating isn't a traditional food token. For more information on this ruling, check out my video on how Academy Manufactor interacts with Breenard Ginger Sculptor. Now, there's one objection that I can feel coming through the screen from some of my advanced viewers. Let's say that instead of Academy Manufactor, Amy controls a root maze. Will her Grizzly Bears enter the battlefield tapped, since Ygra is making it an artifact? And the answer in this case is yes. This is true in either the case where you're using something like Cackling Counterpart to make a token copy of Grizzly Bears, or if you're just playing a normal one from your hand. Either way, the bear will enter the battlefield tapped. But why is this? Isn't this situation pretty darn similar to the original one? Why would Root Maze's replacement effect apply and Academy Manufactor's doesn't apply? And the answer is kind of technical, but it boils down to the fact that Academy Manufactor's affects how you create the tokens, whereas Root Maze replacement effect affects how permanents enter the battlefield, which is similar but not quite the same. You can think of the game action of creating a token as being composed of 2 steps. One where you pick up your stack of tokens and thumb through them until you find one with the required characteristics, followed by another step where you actually put the token that you grabbed onto the battlefield. Academy Manufacturer's replacement effect interferes with the first of these steps, causing you to disregard grabbing a food token or copying out the characteristics of your Ginger Brew onto one of those blank dry erase tokens that they sell now, and instead you grab a food, a clue, and a treasure from your stack. Because Academy Manufactor interacts with the step where you're creating the token, it doesn't see what your token will look like when it's on the battlefield. On the other hand, because Root Maze interacts with the step where you're putting the token that you created onto the battlefield, that does care about what the token's characteristics will be once it's on there. If you'd like some more information about how replacement effects that apply as a permanent enters the battlefield work, I made a whole video on that topic, and you can check that out for a lot more examples and more detailed explanations. That's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling. Until then, I hope you have a great day.